in jargon to disorganize us by not using the English language but the English, so that he calls the government a failure of the day. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether we are proceeding well.
Honorable Macho, I am aware that you've not worked with any leader of opposition during independence and whichever. I know you've only worked with the two leaders of opposition, 2 or 3. So anyway, Matthias address the House and address it with dignity, with the parliamentary language, and with respect for your colleagues, and respect for everybody.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to assure the House of my utmost considered respect, and I should not in any way, under any terms, be deemed to be disrespectful of colleagues. Right, Honourable Speaker, I desire that that assurance rests with everybody's spirit. Right, Honourable Speaker, under the law, states not only have to refrain from intentional and unlawful deprivation of life, but must also take appropriate steps to safeguard the lives of those within their jurisdiction. In respect of the right to life, Uganda as a party is duty-bound to respect and ensure protection It is an obligation of states to establish effective facilities and procedures to investigate killings and cases of missing or disappeared persons in circumstances that may involve violation of the right to life. Right, Honourable Speaker, I'm going to lay a series of attachments after my presentation, and one of them is a reference to Article 2 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which Uganda is a party and therefore bound. Right, Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the responsibility of the state to proceed with an effective investigation is engaged, even when there is no evidence that agents of the state have been implicated in the killing or disappearance, and even if members of the victim's family or others have not lodged a formal complaint about the killing with the authorities. This is a duty. This duty is more stringent when the disappeared person was thus held in state custody. In such circumstances, it is incumbent upon the state to provide a plausible explanation as to the detainee's fate, as well as to ensure that some form of independent monitoring was undertaken. During the time we have been away, Right Honourable Speaker, from plenary, we have managed to reach out to families of the missing persons. Their revelations are quite touching and detail very well the state offices that they have approached and how they reacted to their approach. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm going to lay video evidence of this for your consideration, and it will become house property should there be need to make a reference. I'm going to lay them. In light, I will highlight some of...
You lay the video evidence after I've looked at it personally as the presiding officer.
Much obliged,
in my office.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Then you will bring it.
That's why I've not made a prayer to play it.
Okay.
But I'll make it available as house property.
Okay.
For your consideration. I will highlight some of the cases that clearly indicate glaring contradictions in the statement presented by the minister vis-a-vis statements obtained from the police, witnesses, and other state departments. I'll make a few highlights, not the entire 18. Let me sample for the House to make a judgment. Case 1 is that of Awulira John. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the minister has presented a report indicating that Awulira John is not among the people in government custody. Contrary to what the minister stated in his report, Awulira's disappearance was reported to police and an SD reference was obtained to that effect. I have indicated it right on the speaker. Contrary to what the minister stated, Damulira's data is well captured with the NIRA and that number. He had a national ID and voter location slip. Not only speaker, we should also note that at this stage, that the case of Damulira John, just like many other cases of enforced disappearances, was reported to police, and the police was on record admitting his arrest and detention. On 22nd November 2020, Mr. Patrick Onyango, the spokesperson of Kampala Metropolitan Police, confirmed Mr. Damulira's arrest and several others on allegations of participating in protests around the Kampala metropolitan area, but denied torturing the suspects. And I quote him, "It is true, he, Damulira John, is one of the people we arrested, but I cannot tell you where he and others are detained now. We did not torture any person. And as an institution, torture is prohibited as a form of interrogation." The Daily Monitor of 22nd November quote Mr. Onyango, confirming detaining Mr. Damulira John. Right on the speaker. Damulira John's matter has been investigated by the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the Central Regional Office, and in a letter referenced, quoted, and dated 9th December 2020, addressed to the CMI, indicated that the commission carried out investigation at Central Police Station in Kampala, and it was established that the victim, Damulira John, is being detained at CMI Kampala. Right on the speaker, that's correspondence between the Human Rights Commission and the Uganda Police. Right on the speaker, for your information and the information of members, the relatives of Damulira John on 11th January 2021 reported this matter to State House as well, when in turn forwarded the same to the Uganda Human Rights Commission for further management. I have attached correspondence between the police and the Uganda Human Rights Commission on the arrest of Damulira. Right on the speaker, invariably, this is a matter in a dispute, and we have situated Damulira at CMI. Right on the speaker, John Bosco Chibalama. The minister denies knowledge of the holding point of John Bosco Chibalama, which contravenes what the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Nabanja, asserted during the press interview in the corridors of Parliament. She had this to say, "But we are fortunate that Chibalama was traced. He was arrested, and recently in October, in a place called Kakiri. And he is one of those that killed. He came to have killed the police officers in Chiboga, Wakiso, and other places." Right on the speaker, a missing person case for Chibalama was reported at Nakanyonyi police station under that reference, a day after his abduction on June 3rd, 2019, discrediting the minister's narrative that the family did not contact police for any remedy. Right on the speaker and colleagues, the Deputy Attorney General, the Honorable Jackson Kafuzi, featured on yeyambise TV talk show The Frontline, and they tried to spin the Prime Minister Honorable Nabanja's narrative by insinuating that the Chibalama she referred to is the founding member of NURP party, who is Moses Ngongo Chibalama. Right on the speaker and colleagues, when the Honorable Kafuz was challenged by the show host, who replayed the Honorable Nabanja's bite, he rephrased his statement and said, "She misspoke." I don't know what that means. Right on the speaker and colleagues, these ping pong games by government officials should concern every right-thinking person. The attempt at this spin clearly shows how sections of the ruling party hold Ugandans in contempt and will not stop at anything to show disdain for them. The Prime Minister is on record of Parliament over her total knowledge as to the arrest and whereabouts of Chibalama, and we took her for her statement on record. Right, Honourable Speaker, Mr. Chibalama was fully situated. Top government officials are aware of his whereabouts and how they handled his arrest. Right, Honourable Speaker, the case of Mr. Wangolo Dennis, I am sampling a few for the attention of the House. Mr. Wangolo was picked from his workplace at Chebando tax stage and bundled into a drone alongside 5 others, namely Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Samba Silas, Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. The abductees were taken to Kakiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and they fully released save for Zimla and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed.
Excuse me, young, please first come back, huh? Come back. Sorry. I didn't want these leaders of Uganda to live without being recognized. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have pupils and teachers of Albert Cook Memorial School from Kasanda District, represented by Honorable Patrick Samba Oshabe. Please stand up. Your member of parliament, where is the Honorable Oshabe? And is your member of parliament is around, is just very busy. He's always very busy, but he's a good member. And represented by Nabagabe Kalule Flavia. Thank you so much for coming, and come again. Join me in welcoming them. Okay.
Right, Honourable Speaker, allow me to call. I read out. The names were Nwagaba.
Honorable, sorry for the interruption. I know these children are going very far. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have teachers and pupils of Aiden Nursery and Primary School from Nachifuma County, Mukono. They are represented by Honorable Simbwa. Where is Honorable Simbwa? And Honorable Anifa Nabukera. Honorable Nabukera, you're welcome. And thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Come again. And you have very good members.
Right, Honourable Speaker, as praying to correct the record, I have put on the Hansard that the names were Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Sambwa Silas Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. Sambwa Silas Kasato is one person, right, Honourable Speaker.
Okay.
The abductees were taken to Kakiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and they fully released the save for Zimla and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed by the area residents and an authoritative source, the Elstone chairperson, Mr. Manje Richard. Right, Honourable Speaker, neither records have proved the existence of Mr. Wangolo, contrary to the minister's claim that he is fictitious, that he has never existed. Last, Honourable Speaker, Mr. Semudu Michael Jackson. The kidnap case of Mr. Semudu was reported by his relative, Mr. Kafero Michael, at Old Kampala Police Station under that reference on 26th of November 2020. His credentials at NIRA show that he was registered under that number. Right, Honourable Speaker, I sampled this to tell you, to settle the matter that the victims of disappearance were fictitious, and the prayer we shall make to this house subsequently will be to eventually have occasion to situate and locate the others and confirm their existence, including The video clips I'll submit for the attention of the House. Right, Honourable Speaker. Excuse me. Of government claiming responsibility for missing persons. Right, Honourable Speaker, I also bring to your attention and that of the House that some government leaders, including cabinet ministers, such as the Honourable Judith Nabakoba, are on record claiming responsibility for some of the missing persons. During a church service at St. Andrew's Cathedral, Namukozi, Nemityana, in the presence of the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Honourable Nabakoba said she was aware of some opposition supporters who were abducted during elections. And when the families of these people approached her at her home in Kalangalo, she was able to secure their freedom, the freedom of the victims from Kireka SIU. She comes as a very useful witness in establishing the security layers involved in committing these heinous crimes, right, Honourable Speaker. And I will submit her video and voice record on that matter, right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, in Nansana, one Yusuf Mugaga, an NRM leader, is implicated by the community in several abduction cases. He offered to secure the release of Mustafa Luemba's freedom in exchange for a fee from his relatives. He went on to produce Luemba's national ID to demonstrate that he knew where he was being held. Mr. Yusuf Mugaga has accomplices at room 18 at CPS Kampala building, where they coordinated the ransom and abduction conspiracies. The other officials implicated in the conspiracies are Champs Sub-County Giso, Mr. Swaib, the former minister Ronald Chibule, and the former RDC Freddie Bamwine, among others. Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, the House should use this information to interrogate the activities of these individuals and come to a conclusion as to their role, whether they are being helpful or conspirators. Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, on claims that security forces use reasonable force during operations. On countless occasions, security forces have been captured on camera, torturing and beating up subdued non-combatants. On November 6, 2022, heavily armed security operatives cruising a numberless Toyota Hiace minivan famously known as a drone sealed off Gladiator Paradise in Masanaf, Rubaga Division, where they indiscriminately beat up revelers who were watching a village football match. In the scuffle, Kavma Jamshid, the member of the security detail of the opposition NUP party president, was subdued, handcuffed, and shot as he inquired about the basis of his arrest. I refer the House to the BBC documentary entitled Drones, the Vans That Take People Away, dated 13th February 2023. I have attached that record, Honourable Speaker. On November 18th, 2021, Honourable Speaker, Sheikh Chilevu, a Muslim cleric, was subdued as recounted by his wives, Amina Nabada and Sophia Nakachwa, handcuffed and shot dead. In sight of his children, despite peacefully submitting to the arresting officers to take him for prosecution. I refer the House to the URN report titled Family Disputes Police Narrative on Killed Sheikh Chilevu. Right, Honourable Speaker, the evidence of his killing was all over the place and the circumstances. On May 8th, 2023, Hamid Muyodi, an NUP supporter, was shot in the thigh inside a Toyota Hiace minivan that contained JAT officers who had come to arrest him for unsubstantiated allegations. The security officer who shot Muyodi was neither charged nor court-martialed as demanded by the law. But the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, Luke Owensonga, described the tragedy as an accident. Right, Honourable Speaker, we're waiting for a report of the occurrence of that accident inside the van. Right, Honourable Speaker, not forgetting the March 2019 extrajudicial murder of Ronald Sebulime, who was handcuffed and shot while in the custody of police in a police patrol, alongside several security-inspired terror against members of the Fourth Estate, the media, and the peaceful protesting media, medical interns, and doctors that have occupied a fair share of this year. The excess brutality meted out on minors found at the Kawempe residence of Sheikh Yunus Kamoga is still fresh in our minds, Right Honourable Speaker. Relying on some of these cited incidents, Right Honourable Speaker, therefore, I strongly reject the position of government that security forces use reasonable force when conducting operations. I therefore insist that our report highlighting the security excesses was factual and premised on precedents, accounts of witnesses, and other credible sources who preferred anonymity for fear of reprisal, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, on the issue of compensation talked about or mentioned in the report, it is on record that General Museveni pledged to compensate the bereaved families of some of the victims of the November 2020 riots, especially those he had categorized as non-rioters. 3 years later, nothing in that regard has been effected. He listed the 3 names of the then missing 177 persons and directed his intelligence to publish the full list, a directive that has since been defied and downplayed. The report on November 2020 killings remains concealed from the public, to whom government should be accountable. Right Honourable Speaker, I have attached the record of the 2021 18 November Human Rights Watch report entitled 1 Year Later, No Justice for Victims of Uganda's Lethal Crackdown. I've also attached a video evidence of the Commander-in-Chief directing the publication of that list, which has never appeared up to now. Right Honourable Speaker, at the November 2022 UN Geneva Convention, the Attorney General of Uganda, the Honourable Gyetwabawa, a man I hold in very high regard, lied before the delegates that they had compensated some victims of the protests, and they went on to cite Honourable Zake Francis and exiled NUP journalist Ashraf Kasirye as beneficiaries of the compensation scheme. On the contrary, the duo have publicly denied ever getting any penny from the government as compensation for the bodily harm they suffered by the hands of security. Honourable Speaker, I want to confirm on record that I was the attorney for Kasirye, and therefore his matter has never been compensated. His matter was handled by Justice Sekana, and the state has been playing games since, so it's never been conclusive, and so therefore no compensation. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, it is only through relentless efforts that some families of the deceased 15-year-old Amos Segawa have been awarded some meager compensation. Ms. Nachito, the mother, was awarded by Justice Musa Sekana 50 million shillings, which she complained to be too small for the life of her son, whose right to life was denied by the 2-day November 2020 shooting spree. So I further have attached the ruling in Ms. Jan's cause number 011122 of 2021, Chito versus the Attorney General. It's full attached, Right Honourable Speaker. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, the claims that government has compensated the victims of the November 2020 protests are delusional and a naked lie that even the families of the victims can attest to. Therefore, it should not be kept on the record of Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker. Those who will come after us will never understand how we had that on record. Right Honourable Speaker, detecting registration number plates of vehicles with security missions. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I find totally impractical that the government, as by its statement, expects people to take records of registration number plates in tense circumstances when masked men, gunmen in drones have their fingers read on the trigger. In July this year, security personnel of the Chief Military Intelligence traveling in a drone shot dead a 34-year-old Jacqueline Narwanga, a resident of Nakabogo village in Wakiso district. The deceased was on her way to her garden when she found herself entangled in a security operation and was killed just because she was about to witness an abduction operation. This implies that even if she had taken a record of the security vehicle, she would have been unable to she would be unable to live to tell the story as a witness. I refer the House to the July 25th, 2023 Daily Monitor report, which I have attached, entitled "Army Stray Bullets Kill Woman Going to Her Garden." Besides, security is fond of switching registration number plates upon accomplishing their missions. Honorable Speaker, this was evident in the tenure of Major General Muzei Sabiti as the Deputy Inspector General of Government, or Inspector General of Police, when his vehicle number plate was switched to a Toyota Hiace drone for an operation. This is the Deputy IGP switching number plates. Honorable Speaker. The police spokesperson, Fred Enanga, came out in defense of the saga and stated that it is their tendency as security to switch number plates depending on the magnitude of the operation they intend to conduct. I also reflect on the various by-elections like Omoro, Soroti, Bukedi, among others, where security forces concealed their vehicle number plates with cow dung to evade detection.
Were you there to say that? Remove Bukedia from your list.
The House receives a record for their processing, and the House will take occasion to consider what they drop and what they keep with your indulgence.
Much as I'm not supposed to defend my district, I am defending Bukedia was not involved.
Honorable Speaker, the House will take a record.
Yes,
and make a determination.
Yes,
Right, Honorable, this is the House of Record, being Parliament. I rarely interrupt very decent men like Honorable Mpuga. But listening to him and reading through, I'm wondering whether it's a rejoinder or a new statement. Of the people whom I don't want to put on record, like now, Ukedeya, can he refer to which page did the minister indicate? Because rejoinder, you don't bring new things. But there are a number of new things that has been brought. Now, like on this one of cow dung and when a dung is on the number plate, you may not even know whether it's a human dung or a cow dung. Going into the specific, which page?
I am honorable Law. You're making a rejoinder on what the minister responded to. And in the report of the minister, I did not see my district. And I'm a woman member of Parliament for that district. I will defend it to the latter.
Honorable Speaker.
Let's talk about abducted people, because there's nobody abducted from Bukedia.
Honorable Speaker, the beauty is that I went to the same law school we went to, and we all understand the concepts of rejoinders. He's just trying to divert me from presenting this, and I know his game. He's serious at what he's doing, but I want to assure him that I'm equally serious.
Honorable Bukedia was not included. You withdraw Bukedia.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The whole idea,
Law.
that's why
you listen to your attorney. Bukedea was not involved. Let's not go into something.
Right, Honourable Speaker, for the sake of tranquility and peace, and to avoid interruption by who is deliberate on disrupting my presentation, we shall use the other examples and drop Bukedea. Right, Honourable Speaker.
So you've withdrawn Bukedea?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes, withdrawn Bukedea. Honorable members, let's wait. Honorable members,
Madam Speaker, I also want to go code. No, Madam Speaker, I also want to.
honorable members, Honorable Gwang, first sit. Honorable Gwang, first sit. All of you sit. All of you sit. All of you. And I'm reminding you this. If I see you standing more than 2 times, I'll get you out. Honorable Lop, as we've agreed, don't bring in some things that will anger some people. Let's talk about the 18 people, the shrinking in space, all those kind of things. You read your statement.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical.
And members, I will give you time to debate. I will give you members.
I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical. And if you really, if it does please you, Right, Honourable Speaker, I would play video evidence of everything I'm talking about. Otherwise,
can we go to your report?
Thank you, Right, Honourable Speaker. I can understand the discomfort
And I want
this rejoinder is bringing. Right, Honourable
Yes.
Speaker.
There's a procedure matter.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the issue, Honourable OO raised a pertinent issue on the rejoinder. Is indeed procedural right that you give your ruling on the how rejoinders are done, so that this parliament takes a precedent even for the future on how we can manage reports and counter reports.
Thank you very much. Honorable, she has allowed me to speak. Right, Honorable Speaker, we all have senior 6 or equivalent that allows us to be in this house, and therefore we understand the English. Right, Honorable Speaker, what we expect as a house, that the leader of opposition should respond to what the minister presented on the floor of this house. That's what a rejoinder is. Yes, all of us have been to school. All of us have been to school. And nobody should attempt to take us back to school. So could you guide, Madam Speaker, that the leader of opposition restricts himself to respond to what the Minister of Internal Affairs presented on this floor? But when you start saying the Attorney General was in Geneva and so forth, you're on a fishing expedition. So we want your guidance over that matter, because we are keenly listening and we are going to respond. And we shall respond to what he has brought, not bring new issues.
Honorable
New
members,
issues, yes.
honorable members. Now for you, just now looking for you. First, wait. Honorable members, the leader of opposition brought a report to this house, and government was asked to respond item by item. Now, after government responding an item by item, where they felt they were not satisfied with what government responded to, strictly on what was brought on the floor. Strictly on what was brought on the floor. A rejoinder is a response to the response that was given. So the rejoinder that you're giving is responding to what General Muhoozi gave, and strictly it should be to what General Muhoozi gave. Not bringing in the issues of Bukedeya, Kaodang. Was that?
Speaker.
Yes, you're conflicted.
Me?
Yes,
I'm
you
not-
first sit. You're making a guidance on my ruling. Okay, let me give Nwagaba to speak, not you.
Speaker, and I thank you for your ruling. In a rejoinder like the leader of opposition is making, you are not limited to responding strictly to the response by the other party. But you can, in responding to that response, you can expound. And what the leader of opposition is doing is just expounding when he is rejoining.
Can I have Kiror? Kiror?